The business of transportation remains an essential part of moving goods, services, and people right across the world. And in this country, the business of transportation remains an essential part of government's interest. Today, we explore developments in that industry from last year, plus steps to finally getting behind the wheels and on the road. Welcome to Jamaica Magazine. I'm Theodore Henry. Let's meet back right here after the news.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, January 19. Jamaica has stepped up its response to the fourth wave of the COVID-19 pandemic with the receipt of $43.8 million worth of medical equipment and supplies. The donation was received from Germany with the assistance of the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO. Supplies include 500,000 surgical masks, 300 long-range vaccine carriers, 2 vital sign monitors, and 2 ultra-low temperature vaccine freezers. The Ministry of Health and Wellness also received cell phones, laptops, printers, and promotional materials to support the island's coronavirus communication and vaccination drive. As he welcomed the donation Tuesday, Portfolio Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton made special mention of the freezers that will store Pfizer vaccines.
This donation here will certainly help us to gain some independence, if you will, if not total, but certainly build out some capacity here for us to be able to do some of that on our own.
In recent weeks, the government has had to partner with private sector entities to store the Pfizer brand due to a challenge with the National Health Fund's warehouse cold room. Charge d'Affaires at the German embassy, Frank Bernhardt, says the donation reflects the long-standing relationship between both countries and a commitment to manage the pandemic.
What I'm seeing, it's good, and we like to support this in this humble way, but I know that it will make a small difference here and there and will really help in overcoming the fourth wave and hopefully no more of them.
Residents of Parade Gardens in central Kingston can look forward to intensified security operations and increased community engagement by security personnel. That's the commitment given by National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang while speaking in yesterday's sitting of Parliament. The Parade Gardens community is currently under a 60-day zone of special operations, which was declared on January 9.
Through the implementation of the clear hold and build strategy of the zones of special operation, we'll provide the community with a respite from violence and create an environment for long-term development. The objective is to save lives in the short term, restore order, and pursue transformative action in the medium term.
Dr. Chang says the government is implementing the measures required to restore peace and good order to the area. He emphasizes that the ZOSO will continue following parliamentary review every 60 days to ensure that the work progresses as planned through to the hold and build phases.
These periodic reviews facilitate transparency. It is the means by which the residents of Parade Gardens can hold the government accountable for the requisite social investment and operational work to be carried out as planned.
Newly minted Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs Marlene Malahoo Fort has promised to carry out a comprehensive overhaul of the island's legal and constitutional infrastructure. Attention will also be placed on human rights and legal education. The ministry now has responsibility for the Office of the Chief Parliamentary Counsel, the Legal Reform Department, the Law Revision Secretariat, and the Office of the Public Defender. In her maiden address as Minister in Parliament Tuesday, Mrs. Malahoo Fort said her ministry reflected the first serious attempt to reform the island's legal framework.
The work to be done by the Ministry of Legal and Constitutional Affairs will cross-cut all of government in order to provide specialist guidance and assistance to each ministry and its departments, agencies, and other bodies by extension, with the steps to be taken to uphold and defend the Constitution and the laws of Jamaica in the conscientious and impartial discharge of portfolio responsibilities to the people of Jamaica.
Minister Malahoo Ford previously served as Attorney General until her January 10 appointment to lead the newly created ministry. The Jamaica Education Transformation Commission, JETC, is to lead an institutional review of the Hart NSDA Trust. Prime Minister Andrew Holness made the disclosure during the recent virtual launch of the Reform of Education in Jamaica 2021 report. In addition to a comprehensive review of Hart's organization and output, Mr. Holness says the JETC will also recommend changes to improve the entity's effectiveness.
The review will look at the demand side of TVET, considering how to enable the Jamaican TVET system to better meet the needs of young people, employers, government policy priorities, and the economy, as well as the supply side, considering how to build capacity and capability.
The review process is expected to be completed over a 6-month period. Students across the island will be able to take advantage of the National Homework and Extra Lessons program after it commences February 1. Education Minister Favour Williams made the disclosure during a recent sitting of Parliament. She says the program will provide students with additional support and individual learning interventions. This will be done based on students' diagnostic and internal assessment reports.
We've trained our teachers in differentiated learning, and we have deployed our technical officers, curriculum specialists, literacy and language coaches or specialists, math coaches, among others, to provide support to the learning programs in our school.
The National Homework and Extra Lessons program is designed to provide more teaching and learning opportunities for children. Focus will be placed on students from economically challenged homes where access to regular school engagement is hampered by the COVID-19 pandemic. And finally, the Education Ministry has started the onboarding of 362 schools that are near the government's fibre infrastructure. Minister Favour Williams says of the 362 schools identified, 30 have been fully connected, while connectivity work has begun at 43.
For the remaining 661 schools that are not in close proximity to the government's fibre infrastructure, we are far advanced with a national procurement of internet supply for our schools.
Minister Williams says Wi-Fi access will be increased in all classrooms across the public education system. This will allow teachers to manage a rotational blended learning environment. A partnership has also been struck with the Ministries of Science and Economic Growth to develop an affordable and robust approach to internet connectivity at all public schools. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
Motorists, when driving on the road, here are some simple reminders. Look out for and extend courtesy to all road users. Give plenty of room to pedestrians, especially in wet weather. Drive slowly. No bother wet them up. Slow down when approaching a pedestrian crossing or school, and always be prepared to stop. Remember, a school zone is a 30-kilometer zone. Cut your speed. Drivers of large and slow-moving vehicles should always keep in the far left hand of a dual carriageway. Keep it simple. Drive left and pass right. These are just simple reminders of your road duties. Drive safely.
Last year, significant developments took place in our transport and mining sector, and the impact was felt at every corner of the nation. Just recently, a new minister was assigned to helm this portfolio going forward, while the former minister was given a new charge. But right now, we're looking back at the achievements from the past year.
We see the pandemic as a new beginning, as a means to find new opportunities so that we, Jamaica, can build back stronger.
Here in Jamaica, our route to a stronger recovery will take you on smoother roadways. Air travel too is also available in fine style. And if your choice of ride is via the railways, your transport stakeholders have dusted off the train engines. And a stop by the bauxite sector also awaits, just so you can see all the developments we are experiencing.
We will continue to build out the new structure of that body while we continue to implement innovative plans.
It's 2022, and the Ministry of Transport and Mining is building on the blocks it created last year. But just before we press gas, here's a look back at last year's achievements for the ministry.
We can't have a lovely facility like the Half-a-Tree transport sector and have it underutilized while our people are hustling and bustling to get a bus on the side of a road.
In 2021, the Transport Authority moved rural stage carriage buses into the Half-a-Tree Transport Centre as a pickup and loading point. A $2 million Portmore Mall Transport Centre was also established to ease congestion in the area. And the Road Traffic Amendment, Validation and Indemnity Bill 2021 was passed, updating fixed penalties for offences under the law.
Madam Speaker, the Airports Authority of Jamaica continues to effectively monitor the service delivery at our airports.
As we soar to the skies, the industry that takes us there smoothly was given much attention in 2021. The Negril Aerodrome is now operating with an improved 660-meter runway and a new $17 million fire station. At the Norman Manley International Airport, shoreline and seawall protection works were done. $70 million was spent at the Sangster International Airport on a project to improve and extend the runway and expand the arrivals hall. And our domestic flight options were expanded with the introduction of Amber Aviation, which will provide ultralight flying experiences, a jet share program, and domestic flights. Added to that, the Ian Fleming International Airport received its own newly constructed police post that was handed over by the Airports Authority of Jamaica.
We are moving to create a safe and orderly system to take our children to and from school.
The ministry has restored the Jamaica Railway Corporation's workshop and solar light project in Kingston. The school train transportation system, which will take students from Linstead and Old Harbour to Spanish Town, has been officially launched. And railway station masters or brakemen will have access to an e-pay app, which was created last year to facilitate the ministry's cashless school train system.
Mining is the #1 foreign exchange earner for the country.
Last year, administrative staff at the Reynolds Pier Jamaica Bauxite Mining Limited were given a newly constructed $120 million building. The Jamaica Bauxite Institute implemented the second phase of the Rural Economic Development Initiative Ready to Water Harvesting and Greenhouse Cluster Project. The agreement for mining in the cockpit country was revised to include the removal of 6,000 hectares of land from the original Special Mining Lease 173, SML 173.
This is not just talk. It's a clear demonstration of the will of this government to build back stronger. There are big plans ahead that we look forward to completing with sound decisions and planning for the future of the industry and the country at large.
Today represents a significant milestone in our long journey to provide protection to many women This provision is intended to deal with the problem where many so-called Jamaican products available across the world have no relationship at all with our island home.
The Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport moved through 2021 to the theme of Recovering Stronger Together. Cultural elements were redesigned. Our gender sector was made better. Entertainment received a louder space, and development reached the sporting industry. Join us on Friday, January 21, when we'll have all those stories and more coming out of the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport for 2021.
As we continue on the roadways, we want to help you achieve some of your personal goals this year, like perhaps finally getting your driver's license. Our next feature will walk you through that process.
So, you've acquired your provisional or learner's driver's license, and the next step is getting the real deal. Well, the process for getting each is a bit different, but nonetheless very achievable.
Now, the fundamental difference between the provisional and the driver's license now is that with the driver's license you can drive by yourself, but with the provisional, an instructor have to be there with you, must be there with you at all times. Somebody who have a driver's license must be with you. So once you acquire the driver's license now, you can drive by your own.
But before we go in to get this piece of document, we must have an idea of the type of license that we're applying for. Here in Jamaica, there are 3 categories available: a motorcycle license, a private license for motor cars only, and a general license, which is for any vehicle including motorcycles and public passenger vehicles. Now it's time to head to an Island Traffic Authority depot. But don't leave these important documents: a completed driver's license application form, signed by a justice of the peace or a notary public, the examination fee receipt, your provisional driver's license or learner's permit, and 3 passport-size photographs, also signed by a JP or notary public.
First step we need to do is that we must be successful in the road code test, and we must acquire the provisional driver's license. Now, when you would have gone to your instructor, right? Your instructor would then decide when you are ready to go and do the test. You should prepare yourself for 3 things: the written test, the yard test, and the road test. You need to know how to navigate that motor vehicle, right, safely without hitting down anyone. So you need to be in control of the vehicle, right? Know when to brake, know when to gas, know when to turn, etc. Ensure that you know your road code, right? Know your road signs, know your road markings, know the responsibility of drivers, know the responsibility of other road users. Understand what the road marking signs mean, the white line mean, and know what they mean, and obey them. So those things are very critical, right? So once you know these things, right, then you're ready to do the written test. The written test have to do with driving questions, driving issues.
It's mandatory for all applicants to complete this written test. Individuals are required to read a sentence, then complete the written test where the knowledge of vehicle mechanics will be tested for general license applicants.
And after you have passed the written test, then we take it to the yard test.
During the yard test, applicants' ability to start on a gradient or hill, parallel park, and reverse will be assessed.
So there, so now you learn hill start. Your instructor should teach you hill start, how to start on the hill, so you don't run back and create mayhem and crashing people behind you. So again, controlling the vehicle, very critical, right? So once you have done the hill start, you do the yard test, how you navigate the navigate on the road network. Just as how you would have to navigate out there in the real world. So we put you in that control. It's a control environment, right? So we carry you through that navigatory process. Once you have exercised that safely, right, that is good. Another component of it is that we need to see a reversing skills. We want to see that reversing skill being executed, and we want it to be done safely without creating any imbalances in the traffic environment. Once you have completed the yard test, the yard operations, yes, then we can take you out to the road. Because you'd have proven to us that we must take you out to the road, right? Now, once we have taken you out to the road now, we give you some instructions, and the instructions should be followed, right? And you are assessed again. Once you have passed all three components, then a certificate of competence will be issued with respect to you. Now, that certificate of competence now would then be used as the instrument that would allow you to access the technology of a driver's license. Right? And the tax office now would be the ones that would issue you with that card, allowing you to drive for that period of time. If you have not executed the components properly, you will then be required to come back, right, to do the components that you have failed. Right? So those things would have been documented, what you pass, and whatever you fail, you will be required to come back and do it.
And there you have it, the Island Traffic Authority's simple steps to help you achieve your very own driver's license.
To properly carry out a hand rub, apply a palmful of the product in your cupped hand, covering all surfaces. Rub your hands palm to palm. Rub your right palm over the back of your left hand with interlaced fingers and vice versa. Rub your hands palm to palm with fingers interlaced. Rub the back of your fingers to opposing palms with fingers interlocked. Rotationally rub backwards and forwards the clasped fingers of your right hand in your left palm and vice versa. Once your hands are dry, they are now safe.
And just in case any unplanned event like a motor vehicle crash happens while you're out on the roadways, there are specific steps that you should follow when reporting the incident. Learn more in our next feature.
You know how they say accidents do happen, unexpectedly and often unintentionally. Though road safety experts no longer define these unfortunate incidents involving motor vehicles as accidents, they're certainly never intended. Unfavorable weather conditions, objects on the road, your miscalculation while driving, or another driver can cause crashes, even for the best defensive drivers. That's exactly why it's important to know how to respond in these situations. So, what do you do at that exact moment? What should be your next steps? And when and how should you file a police report?
For the number of reports that come to this station, perhaps it's on a basis of about 10 to 15 per day. That's the number of accidents per day. So after a road traffic accident, person should first try to clear the roadway if they are obstructing the traffic for other motorists. Secondly, drivers are expected to exchange vehicle documents, and the documents should include their registration certificate, certificate of fitness, insurance certificate, and your driver's license information. Those are the essential 4 pieces of information that should be provided to both parties after an accident. Contact information is optional, but you have cases where a person tries to settle outside insurance, and that's now a civil matter. It's an agreement between both parties. So if they want to exchange contact information, that's also optional, depending on the intention that they have in terms of fixing the vehicle outside insurance or what.
Your next step? Making a police report about the collision. This is always a good idea. That way you have proof of exactly what happened and the scope of any injuries.
In terms of our approach as police officers for a motor vehicle accident, first the critical thing is to check for injuries, make sure that persons are okay. If there's a need for persons to be assisted to the hospital for any sort of treatment, we should make sure we render assistance to persons in need of that care first. Secondly, we check for the damage for the vehicles, make sure there is no obstruction along the roadway, and then we can treat with the documents or the exchange of particulars between both parties. After making a report of a motor vehicle accident, the next step that persons are advised to do is to make a report to their insurance company, and that's for another motorist. As it relates to a pedestrian or persons who are injured, they are also advised to get the assistance of an attorney to file a personal injury claim against the party that is liable in the accident. For follow-up visits, what we do, we have cases where persons are seriously injured, some of which are not able to make it to the station to give a report in the first instance. So what we try to do, whether the persons are hospitalized, we ensure that visits are made and that the person's conditions are updated as we go along. As we through the investigation, we ensure that the person's conditions are updated along the procedure.
But are you always required to report traffic collisions?
Not in all cases a report must be filed for accidents. We have situations where it could be a very minor mishap. For example, someone could be reversing from their garage, they could bump their gate. So in those cases, it's not necessary for them to make a report. But for other situations involving another motorist, or a case where a pedestrian or a property is damaged, a report is expected to be made because persons at times are expected to make claims, whether from their insurance company or their attorneys, based on the damage received or the injuries they've sustained.
Reports from the Road Safety Unit shows that up to April 26, 139 lives have been cut short because of road crashes this year, with over 100 of those being males. And for the corresponding period last year, 136 lives were lost in road crashes. On a more global level, studies from the World Health Organization (WHO) show that approximately 1.35 million people die each year as a result of road traffic crashes, and 3% of most countries' gross domestic product is spent on road traffic crashes.
The most common cause of motor vehicle accidents, from my understanding, it's mostly impatience on the part of some of the drivers and lack of knowledge as to how the roadways should be used. And I also believe the implementation of traffic signs at various areas would also aid the process, because most drivers are not aware of what to do at various parts of the roadway.
In the face of such figures, even the most careful driver can suddenly encounter a bit of bad fortune on the road. You know that saying, decisions can be like car accidents, sudden and full of consequences. So how about making the right decision to be responsible road users today?
We're always happy to take you through these experiences with Jamaica Magazine, but acknowledging our time constraints, we work to bring you a new magazine every day. So tomorrow promises a new show with even more knowledge and adventure to be had. Remember, you can always visit our YouTube channel or Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter pages for more information. So from all of us here at the JIS, I'm Theodore Henry. See you soon.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.